thank everybody for tuning in this morning, and hopefully we'll all get to learn something together. So the Triumph Foundation is a nonprofit organization that I started in 2008, and today I'm going to give you a little bit of background on who we are and what we do. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how we provide services to people with disabilities and the various pieces of assistive technology that are out there that we utilize regularly. Triumph Foundation's mission is to help children, adults, and veterans with spinal cord injuries to triumph over their disability and inspire them to keep moving forward with their lives by pushing themselves to get better every day. We focus on people that are dealing with paralysis primarily, but a lot of our programs are open to anybody that can benefit from it, whether they be a different type of disability, physical impairment, or just friends and family and support system in the entire community. Again, we were founded in 2008. I started this organization with the support of my wife and my family. I got injured in a snowboarding accident in 2004. I broke my neck and became a quadriplegic. My whole life was suddenly turned upside down, and I was initially completely lost and submerged into a world that I never dreamed I'd become a part of. But I was very fortunate that I had a great family and a great support system, and I also had people that had gotten injured before me that helped me rebuild my life, and I always wanted to help others. And so after I had achieved a certain point of independence in my life, I started to engage with the disabled community and saw that there were just a lot of unmet health needs. And so I started this organization just thinking I would help people locally at the rehab that I did my physical therapy and work at. And we kind of created a monster in some respects, where we just lit a spark that really made an impact on the community, and we've grown in leaps and bounds and grown beyond my initial expectations. So again, we focus on people with a spinal cord injury or disorder, whether that be spinal bifida or someone with Guillain-Barré or transverse myelitis or some of these other different conditions that are sometimes hard to pronounce, or even people with MS or CP or muscular dystrophy. We try to just meet people where they're at. We try to focus on primarily people with mobility impairments. We got love for everybody, but sometimes the cognitive stuff is just, I just don't have the expertise. But again, we just want to help everybody make the best recovery they possibly can, and also just live their lives to the fullest potential and just increase their quality of life. So most of our outreach is focused in the Southern California community, but we try to provide assistance to really anybody in the United States. So to date, we've touched the lives of over 5,000 people. We provided over $250,000 in assistance to people with inadequate medical insurance and financial hardship. The cornerstone of what we do is delivering care packages that are full of resources, providing education, and just helping people with kind of a toolkit to help them rebuild their life. And we currently visit 18 different hospitals and rehabilitation centers. And we are a chapter of United Spinal, which is the National Spinal Cord Injury Association, and we're also a Paralympic sport club. So just kind of a real quick snapshot. We try to provide a continuum of care to people as a lifelong support network. Hospitals and rehab centers do an amazing job, but at a certain point, they're just time runs out, and so people can't always maintain services at those places, and so we try to fill in some of those gaps and just provide a community of others that have experienced similar things and are also kind of like-minded as far as trying to push themselves to be the best that they can possibly be. Our name is Triumph for a reason. As much as we're there to provide support, we really want to be kind of solutions-oriented and goal-oriented, and just try to help people not only persevere but overcome and keep it moving. So our existing programs, we kind of have 3 different buckets. Essentially, we provide newly injured support. We have grants and equipment, and then we do adaptive sports and recreation. So the newly paralyzed support, the cornerstone of it is our ambassadors go into hospitals and rehab centers and sometimes nursing homes and sometimes homes when people are recently injured or diagnosed with a condition that's causing them paralysis, and we just provide mentorship and try to provide some guidance and help people put the pieces of the puzzle back together. I told you a little bit before about our Care Basket outreach is the mainstay of our organization, where we bring people not only just a basket full of goodies, but also a bunch of resources that we put together from different organizations that are in the community that I wish someone would have told me about when I first got hurt. And also we put together a resource handbook of just some really great referrals that I would be happy to share with anybody after this conference. We put these together in a pretty effective and practical way to just help people navigate their way. And then we run support groups. So we currently run 12 different support groups, provide leadership at them. We've personally founded about 7 or 8 of them, and they meet from Santa Barbara College Rehab to San Diego, Scripps. We're also involved with Sharp down there. We're involved with San Bernardino, Long Beach. You kind of name it. We meet people where they're at. As an organization, we've just found that sometimes support groups kind of have a bad name connotation, and so we call them life series groups. And essentially what that means is, you know, they all have kind of their own personalities, and so some of the groups are very much, we sit in a formal circle and have a group discussion, and some of the groups are more activity-based, where they're going out to do activities, whether it be going out to dinner or doing bowling or playing billiards or just doing things like that, or having guest speakers and addressing, you know, topics of interest. So to keep moving forward, I told you a little bit about our care package program. We have 2 different vehicles, essentially, the baskets and backpacks. Our goal for the year is to give every single newly injured person a basket or a backpack, and we have some training that we've done with our ambassadors on kind of protocol on what's inside, and then just try to how to handle you know, people during that sensitive time in their life. I'm sure you all can imagine what it must be like when you're newly injured, and in the beginning most people are feeling pretty hopeless, and they're at their lowest point. So we just want to provide some care, some support, some hope, and some information that will hopefully be helpful. So again, I touched on earlier a resource handbook that we actually print and produce. It covers everything from government resources, all the different rehabilitation centers, both inpatient and outpatient, a list of our support groups, a list of grants and financial assistance. I could go on and on and on, separated into about 30 different categories. We're always trying to learn more and add to it. So again, I'd love to not only share it with you, but perhaps if you guys see something that's not inside, we'd love to have you guys contribute and let us know. And our joke is, if information is your drug, then we're your dealer, and we're always trying to get more insight into what is available to people. So inside the baskets, of course, it's not just the resources, but we include some goodies and some things that will hopefully sweeten up someone's stay in the hospital. We kind of consider people that are newly injured 2 years and less. Unfortunately, too many people slip through the cracks, and we don't actually get to meet them in the hospital, and many people unfortunately don't even go to a proper rehab facility. And so just putting it out there, but if you guys ever come across somebody that needs help, always feel welcome to refer them our way. So the other program that we run is our grants and equipment. We provide a grant program. We call them Keep Moving Forward grants, and we also have an equipment and supply exchange, which is essentially a recycling, repurposing, refurbishing program. The grants, this is the only program that's really limited to only spinal cord injuries and disorders. All the other programs are relatively open for anybody else. But just because we don't have money to give to everybody in need, this is the one that's kind of narrowly focused in scope. Again, it's income-based, essentially. People got to have some sort of financial hardship. The maximum award that we give out is $2,000. We don't physically give people money. We will pay to the vendor or service provider. And the applications are reviewed by our board of directors. Things that we cover are mainly, adaptive equipment that's for activities of daily living. We also help a lot of people with home modifications, putting ramps in, widening doorways. We like helping people return to work and to the community, so installing hand controls into a car, assistive technology, which we'll talk about in a little bit, things of that nature. And then we also do some therapeutic exercise grants and some recreational activities. However, those are seen kind of as not quite as necessary, and so sometimes those get lower priority for our giving standpoint. Things that we don't cover are daily living expenses. We can't pay for caregivers. We don't pay for rent, and we don't pay for things that are just daily expenses. GoFundMe campaigns, down payments. Someone's got to have all the other money that is necessary before we're able to make a commitment to chip in. Oftentimes we get applications for vans, and unfortunately adapted vans are very, very expensive and cost prohibitive, and they cost from $10,000, $20,000 all the way up to $60,000 and more. And so our grant occasionally has chipped in on some rare circumstances, but again, normally the person would need to have all the existing funds in place before we would contribute. So our exchange, this is an awesome program. I know that AT Network has their own kind of exchange program as well, but ours is a great resource for people to find a good home for their old, used, durable medical equipment and supplies. And so I know a lot of people in the community lack urological supplies, and some people have stockpiles of them in their houses. And so rather than us actually picking up and having a warehouse full of these things, I'm just a regular guy. I've got a garage. I can't store everybody's stuff, and so we primarily just create a classified system on our website where people can post things that they have and no longer need, and then people in need can reach out to them directly. Again, this is open for anybody, so you go on our website, you click the Exchange tab, you can see a list of all sorts of things that are free that our people are giving away. And we've given away lots of really nice, expensive things. We currently have a loaner wheelchair program too. Too often people are getting discharged from the hospital and sent home in equipment that is substandard. And so we take a lot of the equipment and we keep it in our own fleet. And then as people get discharged from the hospital, we'll let them borrow our items until their insurance actually comes through and gets them something that's going to be proper for them. And then some people that may not qualify for our grant program can fill out an equipment request form. And when we see something that comes up that's being donated, we can match that individual with whatever they need. So some definitional type things for assistive technology. I don't think this is rocket science to anybody what assistive technology is. You know, it's essentially an item that helps people get dependent or independent again. You know, the more you look at what items are out there, technology especially, I think they're all assistive in some fashion. That's why we use them. And so just some blanket terms. So here are some things that we encounter a lot. We, again, assist a lot of people that are dealing with paralysis. And so people that don't have function of their upper extremities or have limited upper extremity function. Some real basic things is, you know, on an iPhone, and I believe on some of the Android systems, they have a Siri or a voice-activated program that will do some internet searching for you, or command-orientated, which is just simply incredible. I know me personally, like I said, I'm a quadriplegic and I have limited hand function, and I'm able to be a lot more productive using those types of things. Certainly a camera on the phone has just really given me a lot of freedom to direct my own care, to understand what might be going on in my surroundings. If I may not be able to look at something, I can ask someone to take a quick snapshot with my phone, whether it be checking my skin for pressure ulcers, or simply, hey, there's something going on with my car, can you open the hood up and check it out and let me know what's going on. Another great thing that's on these you know, smartphones these days is just voice typing. I no longer need to actually type. My hands, like I said, don't work very good, and so I'm a one-finger typer. And the voice typing softwares are just incredibly accurate, and I think a lot of able-bodied, quote-unquote, able-bodied people have learned about the capabilities by watching me use the voice typing software. There's also Dragon, which is a software that's installed inside you know, various computers. It also does the voice typing. I'm able to dictate almost 90% of all the correspondence and typing that we do as an organization. When I was discharged from the hospital, I was given, you know, typing sticks, which is essentially something that an occupational therapist helped mold to my hand. I know you can buy certain things as well, but just allowing me to press the buttons more accurately. Another great function that I use on my computer, which I think most people aren't familiar with, is they have what's called sticky keys on Microsoft laptop. And so if you press the shift button 5 times in a row, it'll prompt you for a little thing. But essentially what it allows you to do is, if you want to capitalize or hold down shift anytime, you hit the button once, and then whatever key you place, it will essentially hold down that shift button for you. And that's made me a lot more productive and a lot more capable to use some of the keyboard functions. And then and a lot of my friends that are higher level injuries aren't able to use their hands at all. However, our joke as quadriplegics is our mouth and our teeth are our good hand. They have the best grasp, and so many of my friends use a stylus between their teeth and are able to use a touch screen in that fashion. Normally you can buy styluses that are specifically made for this, but they tend to be expensive, as I think most of you guys know. In the minute you add adapted or handicap or for people with disabilities to any kind of product, you're going to multiply that price by at least 300%. And so it's oftentimes cost prohibitive. So what most of my friends do is just buy a regular stylus, and then they can put a little rubber cap at the top, and essentially it's the same thing as a $60 stylus, and makes them just as productive as anybody else. So moving on, SmartNav is a program that we've purchased for a lot of different people, and it essentially allows someone without the function to use their hands to use a laptop screen. It's like a little sensor that either someone puts onto a hat or onto their glasses frame or onto something that would be head tracked, and so wherever they move their head or their eyes on the computer screen, that's where the mouse ball or mouse arrow would go to. And so it's an incredible technology that's out there. I want to say, if I had to estimate the cost of something like that, it's relatively reasonable, around the $1,000 range. It's not crazy expensive in the big picture. Another program that we've gotten for a lot of people is Joust. And Joust is joystick operated. It's normally used by someone using their chin or their mouth to move the joystick around, which would then function as the mouse. And then both of these are kind of operated with some switches and also with some voice-activated typing in those things. So Broaden Horizons is a website that we buy a lot of these kinds of adaptive devices from. They have a whole array of different assistive technology for the computer systems. So a couple other great things that we've come across is just reading software. Personally, I'm not able to hold a book very well, and so again, on the smartphones, there's a feature on there that if you highlight a certain portion of text, you can hit speak and it will read you that text. Kindle also has a similar program where Kindle will actually read you the whatever book or whatever you happen to download into it. And then one that I didn't add in here that I thought was really cool is the Institute for the Blind, I believe, has a program where they will give you a player and they will mail you cassettes, anything from the Library of Congress. It's an incredible vast library that is free, and I know that they primarily focus on people with visual impairment that can't see very well, but we work with them and they will help anybody that essentially has difficulty handling a book. So it's just an incredible resource. So another piece of a technology that we've helped individuals get and just seen really make an impact on folks is environmental controls. Essentially, someone that is not able to utilize their arms or for some reason can't do normal things like turn on the light switch or turn on their TV or adjust their thermostat in their home, can get some of these voice IR environmental controls and allow them to connect their house and give them the capabilities to do those things by voice activation. A new system that's coming out that's not really even focused towards people with disabilities, but just in general is the Amazon Echo. Sure, probably a lot of you guys have seen it, but essentially the Amazon Echo device has a program that's called Alexa, and it'll allow you to do all those kinds of things as well by voice activation. I also just want to leave a quick plug on this one, that it's also really great. That's almost like a life alert program too. I recently had a friend that slipped and fell in his shower and was essentially stranded there, and a system like this enabled him to call for help. He didn't have any kind of medical alert device other than that, and so something like that can really be a safety platform as well, just in case something might happen. So again, our real focus on assistive technology is people that are dealing with mobility impairments, and so another great device for people that are high-level quadriplegics and folks that don't have the ability to move their arms very well is just a RAM mount, which is essentially a mount that will hold your phone or laptop or device up to a place where you are able to utilize it more effectively. Specifically, we do this a lot for folks that have used the stylus with their teeth, and so we mount a device that comes up from their power chair and holds their phone approximately 6 to 12 inches away from their face, and then has a stylus stick that's mounted directly next to it, and they're able to grab the stylus with their teeth and operate that phone. Just greatly increase their independence, and they're able to do almost just as fast or faster than most people. My friend Russell, we call him Rockstar Russ, is a ventilator-dependent quadriplegic, probably does more Facebooking, social media, and posting things live than anybody else that I know, and he does it all by using a device like that. So it's just incredible what gives someone that piece of freedom back. So again, assistive technology can mean so many different types of things, and one thing that we really focus on is just getting people out to play, doing recreational type activities. And so we hold a number of events that are free and open for the entire community to participate in. Specifically, real quick plug is Triumph holds a wheelchair sports festival that's coming up not this weekend but the following weekend, and it's in Southern California in Santa Clarita, which is the northern part of Los Angeles County. And it's a free event that's open for everyone to participate in. It's all inclusive, so it doesn't matter if you're on a team, doesn't matter if you have equipment, doesn't matter if you even have a disability. The entire community comes out and is able to participate in all sorts of adaptive recreational things, from sport like rugby, which is like bumper cars and wheelchairs, to riding bikes that are hand cranked or hand cycles, to also doing other sports and rec, just getting people active and hopefully helping them live a life that's healthy. And also too many people with disabilities live a life that's sedentary and don't do very much, and so we try to provide opportunities for people to get out and push the limits of their abilities. And the sports festival is our big event of the year that comes up at the end of April every year, but we do sports and rec all year long. Just the sports festival is the one weekend where we feature all of them, and that includes scuba diving to hockey to rugby to hand cycling. It's about 10 different sports and rec activities. So one of the other pieces of assistive technology is getting vehicle devices that'll enable them to go where they need to go. Especially living in California, I think we all recognize that having a vehicle is so important to just being where you want to be. We don't really have great public transportation systems in a lot of places, just specifically because everything's so spread out. And so Hand controls are a big deal. We do a lot of hand controls to help people. Essentially, the NPS system is the most common hand control system that people have, and it mounts usually to the left-hand side of a steering wheel, and you are pushing forward to brake and kind of pulling down and towards you to go. You do need to go through a driver's training and get certified to use these types of systems, but it's you know, relatively affordable. Hand controls, the NPS form is usually somewhere in the neighborhood of around $2,000 or less, so it's not crazy money. Again, in the big picture, I think I've said that before, $2,000 is really not a whole lot of money. The Monarch system is kind of a newer cutting-edge system, and that's functioned on the right-hand side, and essentially you are pushing forward to go and pulling backwards to brake, and it's a little bit more expensive. I don't have an exact cost, but I know that it's greater than the NPS, so, but I still believe it's under $5,000. And then they do have all sorts of other adaptive driving devices that are out there that are super high-tech, and I know some of my friends that really have very, very little range of motion or upper body function are able to drive using joysticks and using some really specialized systems that can be very costly, but it does exist. And then simple things to adapt a vehicle. For people that use a power chair or aren't able to transfer very independently, is getting a ramp van, an adapted vehicle that has a ramp. Those, I think I mentioned earlier, can be very expensive. If you're going to buy something new, we're talking $50,000, $60,000. The used aftermarket is usually $15,000 to $30,000 depending on the mileage that's on these vehicles, and so they're very expensive. But Triumph Foundation, you know, tries to let people know when there's private market opportunities to buy. Oftentimes that's cheaper than going through a general dealership. And we have good relationships with some of the dealers locally in Southern California and beyond. Ability Center is a partner of ours, and just getting people driving again is such a huge, huge piece of freedom. And I could go on and on about that, but I'm going to keep moving just because of time constraints. So wheelchairs, guys, I mean, obviously that's a huge assistive technology device. Power chairs can be operated through a sit and puff, where essentially you are blowing to go forward, and then you're giving a slight suck backwards in order to stop the power chair. Also, if you give a sequence of 2 quick blows, that will turn the chair left, or 2 quick sucks will turn the chair right. And it's just amazing to watch people that utilize this system and how fast they can zip around and get, be where they need to be in their power chairs. Another system that's really cool for people with upper body strength or that can't operate a joystick is a head array system. I wish I had pictures for some of these things, guys. I just wasn't able to put it together as fast as I wanted to. But essentially the head array is, rather than having a sip straw in front of your face, someone with a higher level injury would be able to operate a power chair using their headrest. And so if they tilt their head back, they'd be essentially hitting a switch that would allow the chair to go forward. If they tilt their head to the left or to the right, they'd be hitting different switches that operate the power chair. And so it's just a really cool way for people to get around. And then the chin controlled is probably the classic design that's out there for folks that have limited arm use. And essentially it's just like it sounds, as a joystick that's mounted right up underneath your chin, and that's how higher level injuries or quadriplegics or people with without upper body strength can drive a power chair. And then, of course, I think most of you guys know typical power chairs operate with a joystick that can be mounted on the left or the right. And then I've seen some people get chairs that are made where they can drive it with their foot as well. If they don't have any kind of function in their arms, they can operate the power chair using their foot. So manual wheelchairs, I know that we are all aware that there's incredible lightweight manual wheelchairs that help people be more independent. But there's also what's called power assist devices that almost like power steering for you when you propel your wheelchair. They have some that's called an e-motion that I'm personally a user of that helps you propel forward and also helps you slow down. There's a power assist add-on that will called the Smart Drive that'll attach to the axle of your chair and almost makes a manual wheelchair into a power wheelchair. When you engage the push rim, the motor turns on and will drive you forward until you initiate it to stop, which is really incredible. And then some other devices that I could go on and on about. But let's get to the meat and potatoes. Where do you get this stuff out? Who pays for assistive technology? And that's always the hardest question I get asked, because all these devices are wonderful, but they all cost money. However, a lot of school systems will pay for some sort of assistive technology devices if you can justify it, that it's going to help you with your education. Government has a lot of programs out there. Hope you guys are all aware of Department of Vocational Rehab. They will help people get assistive technology if it's going to help lead someone to a job. And so essentially when you have clients or patients or whoever you're assisting that needs help, if you are vocational focused and you're really trying to get this person to reintegrate back into the community via employment, the Department of Rehab is a great avenue, and they will help someone get devices and also return to school and just pursue their goals and getting back to work and being productive members of society. So obviously, health insurance, guys, it's oftentimes inadequate, but that's where the majority of people get their assistive technology stuff. Employers oftentimes will pay for assistive technology. Sometimes it's just asking and asking in the right way. There's other sources of funds, private foundations, charities, people like Triumph Foundation. There's a bunch of other organizations that I have a list of that do provide some help. One that I just want to point out real quick is an organization called Computech for Humanity, and they take people's old used computers, will refurbish them, wipe them out, and then give them to somebody in need. So that's a great organization out there. Someone looking for a computer, they can get one free from Computech for Humanity. I think you guys are all aware of abilitytools.org, but it's a wonderful place to get information on all these things. Same thing with the Center for Accessible Technology, beg your pardon. They have evaluations. I think they have sometimes lending things, so you can try things out before you actually have to make a purchase. It's always a shame when people buy things and it turns out that that wasn't the right device for them. So this is a great way for them to get educated. Talked about the Department of Rehab. I don't know, I for one was really fortunate. I worked with the Department of Rehab. They actually helped pay for some of my vehicle modifications. That did not happen overnight. It took a long time working with them, but it can happen. The Woody Foundation is a small nonprofit, and they send out Woody packs, which are essentially a collection of assistive technology devices, typing sticks, styluses, zipper pulls, all sorts of wonderful little things for people with limited hand function to help them adjust and be more independent. Assistive Technology for Computer Access is a great website. Other one is the Model Systems Knowledge Translation Center, which is a really updated website that just has an incredible list of resources on there. That's just a lot of time and funding and effort went into putting that together. It's just a great resource catalog. So last but certainly not least is just my personal contact info and our website. I really appreciate you guys all hanging in there with us today and going through this presentation. And we want to be there to help you. Just kind of going back to what I said earlier, you know, I started this organization never dreaming that it would become my purpose in life, but I've really found what I love to do, and really comes down to just love to help people and service above yourself. And I think you guys all, just by being on this phone or conference call right now or presentation, probably have a similar heart. And we want to connect with you. I want to stay connected and just be a resource to you and a tool of your tool belt. So I always say don't be shy, because I'm not, and I'd be happy to take any questions if you guys have any. Statewide organizations that help build ramps. That's a tough question. So there are more, not statewide. I know some that are like specific to LA City. LA City has one. Depending on what kind of ramp the individual needs. Again, I don't want to like put Triumph Foundation out there too much, but we've had several ramps that have been donated through us, portable ramps, that is. So something that would be like a suitcase ramp, and people no longer need it. But Santa Barbara, I do have some connections out there. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, I can maybe get you pointed in the right direction. We work a lot with the cottage rehab out there, and so you know, I've got some local resources for you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question about your using the Amazon Alexa. Yeah, I've been, sorry, my name is Vincent Lopez from the Center of Independence in San Mateo. I've been working with one, and I used to be a care person for a quadriplegic person. And I'm trying to set it up to control his house. Have you heard of anything where they're able to open and close the doors?
No, that's one feature that it doesn't do. Unless you have some sort of other mechanism that does it. But yeah, the door opening and closing is something that is amazing, but I don't believe Alexa does it, and I think that's something that you know, is a whole other system that you'd essentially have to buy.
Too cool.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Give it another 5 years, right?
I know. I'm trying to do it now to get the guy set up so he can go in and out of his house without any help. On there.
Yeah. I would love to learn more about what you do get Alexa to do, because it's kind of new. I mean, it's really only been out. I've only heard about it for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
So I see another question popping up down here.
What's the life alert system?
Go ahead, man. Glad you have another one.
I'm sorry. I was wondering about the life alert system.
Yeah.
That he had set up, like where the Alexa was able to say that. You know what application that was that he was using?
You know what? It is essentially Alexa call mom or something along those lines. So
no
just
way.
A simple phone. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you so much.
So that's what he did, you know. But I'm sure you could hit call 911 or whatever you need to do. So just, you know, having a phone handy. I grew up in an age where not everybody had a cell phone, and you know, I just imagine what it must have been like for people like myself that are just vulnerable to slip and falls, and gosh, something like that could happen. You could be stranded, and you know, thank God for my phone. Just always, you know, kind of that safety belt. I see a question down here. Organizations that does sport events like us in Northern California. So the big one up there, man, is BORP, and it's in Berkeley, and it stands for like Bay Area Recreational Program. I don't know exactly the acronym, but they have a phenomenal program, and if you haven't heard about them, I know Stockton is a little bit outside of Berkeley, but it's not crazy far. There you go. Bay Area Outreach, thank you. I need to remember that one. Bay Area Outreach and Recreational Program. Just phenomenal. The people there are so cool, and they do great activities pretty regularly. And then we try to publish like a calendar of stuff that's not just our organization, but we try to like get everybody's schedule and put it out seasonally. And so we put out one for, you know, the early part of 2017, and we'll probably be coming out with another one again in probably May or June that'll plug everything going on throughout California and neighboring states up until, you know, the fall. So again, you know, email me or get me your email, and we can keep you in the loop of what's going on. And I want to help promote your guys' programs and activities as well. We're all kind of in this together. We're all part of the same family. My email is Andrew@Triumph, TRIUMPH dash or hyphen foundation.org. Our website is very similar, triumph-foundation.org. If you Google us, we're pretty easy to find. And then my direct phone number is 661-803-3700. Pretty much everything at Triumph points back to me. It's just me and a handful of other people running the organization. So we might look like a big outfit, but behind the scenes, it's just a few of us just trying to help. And so, yeah, hopefully that keep you connected. Anybody else? Well, thank you, everybody. Rosemary, appreciate you setting this up. And I look forward to staying in touch with everybody and watching these assistive technology webinars. So hope you guys have a wonderful day, and yeah, take care.